10 irrefutable reasons why Jin BTS is the perfect idol and why the industry will never see another like him. Number 10. His face wasn't just made for the stage. It redefined the K-pop visual standard. There are idols with good looks. And then there's Jin, the man whose face went viral without even trying. A single snapshot of him at the 2017 Billboard Music Awards sparked a global frenzy, with headlines calling him the third guy from the left, even though he'd already been conquering Asia for years. Jin's symmetrical features, sculpted jawline, and effortless elegance weren't just admired, they became a blueprint. Plastic surgeons across Korea reportedly referenced his face as an ideal template. He isn't just a pretty face, he is the face, but Jin's visual impact is more than just symmetry and a sharp jawline. What makes his appearance unforgettable is the paradox he carries, a masculine strength wrapped in an ethereal softness. His expressions range from heart-shattering stares to boyish mischief, making him a visual chameleon that directors and photographers dream of. Number 9. His voice. It's the kind that stops time, and he was always underrated for it. Let's set the record straight. Jin was never just a visual. That tired narrative died the moment his solo track, Epiphany, dropped and shattered fans' emotional defenses across the globe. With a voice so hauntingly clear it feels like time suspends itself, Jin doesn't just sing, he reveals. His tenor is pure, vulnerable, yet surprisingly powerful when it needs to be. And yet the industry, and even some casual fans, took too long to recognize his vocal power. Maybe because Jin never screamed for the spotlight. Maybe because he made difficult notes seem too effortless. But those who listen closely know, his control, emotional delivery, and stability in live stages are second to none. He's the member who never missed a note, who carried harmonies when no one noticed, who elevated BTS ballads from beautiful to unforgettable. Number 8. He's not just funny, he's BTS's emotional glue. Everyone knows Jin is the funny one, the dad joke master. The guy who'll put a lobster on his head on live TV or fake cry into a camera until everyone's laughing. But that's surface level stuff. What people miss, and what BTS themselves have admitted, is that behind every joke, Jin carries the role of protector. He's the quiet force who senses when a member is off, the first to lift the mood when tensions run high, and the last to burden anyone with his own struggles. Number 7. The way he loves ARMY isn't marketing. It's personal, relentless, and raw. Many idols love their fans. Jin lives for them. There's a difference, and it shows in the small, unmarketed moments. Like how he once delayed a surgery because it would interfere with concert schedules. Or how he memorized ARMY projects in foreign languages so he could respond in kind. Jin isn't the type to post flashy tributes. He sends voice notes at midnight. He drops unpolished selfies with "I miss you." He shows up for Weverse chats when everyone else is offline. Because for him, connection isn't a strategy, it's survival. When he enlisted in the military, his handwritten letters weren't PR. They were lifelines. And even there, he worried more about us than himself. "Don't cry too much, okay?" he wrote. No filters, no stylists, just Jin, raw and human. He doesn't treat ARMY like fans. Number 6. He walked into BTS with no training. Here's the inconvenient truth the industry doesn't want to admit. Jin had zero dance or vocal background when he joined BigHit. He was a film student, recruited for his looks, thrown into a brutal K-pop machine without years of idol prep. Most would have crumbled, and many did. But Jin? He didn't just catch up. He dominated. Quietly, persistently, and without ever asking for pity. You can see the growth in every performance, from the unsure steps in debut era No More Dream to the fierce elegance of Black Swan. And it wasn't just about practice. It was about mindset. Jin studied his own performances obsessively. He asked for extra dance lessons. He rehearsed until his body gave out, literally collapsing from exhaustion during early tours, only to stand up and bow again. He earned every inch of respect not by raw talent, but by terrifying determination. He turned doubt into fire. Critics said he didn't belong. Jin answered with decade-long dominance and never threw it in their faces. That's what legends do. Number 5. He carried the weight of eldest young without ever asking for sympathy. Being the eldest in BTS isn't just about age. It's about expectations, leadership, sacrifice, and an unspoken duty to always be fine for the younger ones. Jin never asked to be the emotional anchor, but he became it anyway. From the early trainee days, he stood between his younger members and the harsher sides of idol life. While the spotlight favored others, he stood back, letting them shine. Not because he lacked ambition, but because he knew his role was bigger than himself. Behind closed doors, members have admitted that Jin was often the one who gave them advice, who stayed behind to talk when someone was struggling, who cracked a joke not for laughs, but to stop someone from crying. And he did it all without seeking applause. The pressure of being a silent leader, a comedic shield, and an emotional stabilizer is unbearable. But Jin never once let it fracture his smile. If selflessness had a face, it would look exactly like Kim Seokjin's, number 4. His solo work wasn't just art. It was his unfiltered soul, given freely. Let's talk about something the mainstream media never fully acknowledged. Jin's solo songs aren't just nice ballads. They're autobiographical chapters, raw, terrifyingly honest, and breathtaking in their vulnerability. Abyss wasn't promoted, wasn't hyped, and yet it hit harder than any chart-topping single. Because it wasn't written for success. It was written at the edge of burnout, from a place of darkness Jin rarely let anyone see. And instead of hiding it, he gave it away to ARMY. Then came Super Tuna and The Astronaut. Two completely opposite tones, both unmistakably him. One was goofy, unexpected, and lovingly self-deprecating. The other? A cosmic farewell, a collaboration with Coldplay that felt like Jin was preparing fans for his absence during military service. This wasn't just music, it was communication. His solo work proves that he never needed a megaphone or a media circus to move people. All he needed was honesty, and a voice that could carry pain with grace. Number 3. He chose humility in a world that worships ego, an industry bloated with self-promotion and strategic branding. Jin remains an anomaly, someone who refuses to weaponize his greatness. He could brag. He has every right to, but he doesn't. Even when he's trending worldwide for his looks, for his vocals, for his fashion, he downplays it with a joke or a shrug. Not because he doesn't care, but because he doesn't need validation to feel complete. That's power most people only pretend to have. It's easy to be humble when you're unknown. It's nearly impossible when the world calls you a worldwide handsome phenomenon. And yet Jin wears his crown like it's paper. Even in interviews, he deflects praise to the other members. He talks about video games, food, and ARMY, never himself. And that's what makes the admiration for him all the more explosive. People don't love him because he demands it. Number 2. His military service proved what K-pop refused to admit. When the time came to serve his country, Jin didn't flinch. No evasion, no special treatment, no delay. He didn't try to milk his fame to avoid enlistment. In fact, he was the first BTS member to go. And not just quietly, but with grace, humor, and pride. In an industry where some idols dread enlistment like a career death sentence, Jin turned it into a chapter of dignity and national pride. The man who sang on global stages was now shaving his head and standing in line with strangers, and doing it all with a smile. Number 1. He never lost himself, even when the world tried to change him. Fame doesn't just elevate people, it devours them. It twists personalities, inflates egos, and strips away the parts of a person that don't serve the brand. But in Jin's case, fame never won that battle. Despite global tours, millions of screaming fans, media chaos, and the never-ending pressure to be something more, he stayed Kim Seokjin, the guy who loves dad jokes, fishing, anime, and simple dinners. The guy who bakes cake for his members, even when he's busy. The guy who still cries when he sings about things that matter. You never once saw him try to be cooler. He never traded sincerity for trendiness. Never sold a fake version of himself. And that's what makes him perfect. Not because he was flawless, but because he resisted the industry's demand to become someone else. He showed the world that you don't have to compromise who you are to succeed.